Envy is the thief of your joy. A lot of us envy other people or other people's situations. And what this does is it leads us to forget about our talents and our situations and what we have. Social media hasn't done a good job of helping this. It's so easy to look at somebody's progress and be like, where am I at? Why am I not doing what they do? But the sad part is we get clips and pieces, almost like ESPN highlights of other people's success. We don't actually understand what they had to do to get there. We see a person with a nice body on social media, or we see this movie that is very nice and we say, well, I wish I could do something like that. And it leads us to saying negative words in our minds like, I wish, I want, I tried. And all these things lead you to the same thing. I can't. So I ask you, why is it that you envy someone else when you have your own situation? You may say, well, my situation is this or that. But God has given you a gift, and it's the ability to take control of your life. Something I've learned is that your food will get cold staring at another person's plate. When you're constantly absorbed of what other people are doing, you're watching other people succeed, and you can't focus on yourself. The problem with social media is a lot of these people go through these situations and go through these trials and tribulations and come out on top, and they start to water down everything. They just show you the exact product versus how the product is made. The question I have for you is, what will you do to achieve the things that you want? Because when you are constantly absorbed with somebody else's life, you're trying to achieve their success and relive every single moment they lived. You can only ever be a mediocre version of someone else because you can only be the best version of yourself. You have went through life experiences that have shaped you to be who you are for God. You have gone through trials and tribulations to shape you to be the person you are today. Now, if you do not like the person you are, and that's why you find yourself comparing to other people, then ask yourself, who is the person I want to be? And now start embodying everything that person is. What they dress like, how they talk, the way they act. Because that kind of person, it has to be rooted also within God. Where is your foundation at? Is your foundation in the world, or is it with God? Because whether you like it or not, whether you believe in God or not, the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. We must humble ourselves first to understand that we have to be able to change. What everybody who is ever successful has ever done is learn to fail. Learn to make mistakes. Unlearning is the hardest part of learning. You've got to learn that the things you understood are not always going to get you where you want to be. What got you here won't get you there. If you want to move on to the next level and you want to achieve greatness, you have to be willing to understand that there is only change, which is the only constant. The Bible talks about, says, those who are humble will be exalted, and those who are exalted will be humbled. Sometimes we can be so prideful in our idea that this is exactly what I want. But once again, part of success is being able to see yourself in the position. The other part is the effort. Are you willing to take that first step? Are you willing to sacrifice in order to get to where you want to be, where God is calling you to be? The Bible says in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. Sometimes we're so steadfast on what we believe we should be doing, we forget about God's plan for us. We forget about the purpose God has put us on this earth to serve Him and serve His people. The Bible says many of the plans in a man's heart, but it's God's plan that prevails. Ultimately, no matter where you decide to go or how many times you decide to fall, God will always bring you back on your path because it's His plan that prevails ultimately. And you envy other people who have things that you don't have? Why not be grateful that those people have what they have and you have what you have? Because what God has planned for you has been made and ordained for your life experience. God is preparing something for you. But if you keep on stepping in saying, I want this on my food, I want this on my pasta, I want salt, I want pepper, I want onion powder, I want garlic. I'm a little hungry, so you know. But if you keep on telling the cook on how to cook, guess what? The cook ain't going to make a good food. Because if every single time you go up to the coach and say, Coach, I think we should run this play. Sure, you can give a suggestion. Ask God, this is what I believe I want in my life. But it doesn't mean the suggestion is going to be heard. Because sometimes the coach knows a better play than you do because he's been doing this longer than you have. God has been fighting these battles longer than you have. God understands your concern for your future and what you want to be. There's a quote, I believe it's by Miyamoto Musashi. To be who you want to be, you must be willing to sacrifice who you are. Are you willing to make a sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice the things that you have now? The Bible says that any man who wishes to follow me must deny himself and pick up his cross. You must be willing to deny the things that are holding you back. Deny the envy. Deny the temptation to want what these other people have. Sometimes we idolize people who have these certain things just because we want them. Like people like LeBron James. These guys have millions of dollars, have big influence, have fame, and all the things of the world. But the Bible talks about, it says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world at the cost of his own soul? Some of these people are so far gone, you shouldn't envy their position because you don't know what it takes to be in their position. That's why I say living in your own shoes is where you should be at. You need to stand where your feet are at. Don't have your feet over in New Mexico when your body's over in Africa. You got to have your body in the same place at the same time. Otherwise, you are going to fall apart. You got to understand who you are, your values, and what you believe in. Who you believe in. Because otherwise, every single time, you're going to fall back into this same place you were before. I wish, I want, I tried, I can't. God bless, and I'll see you soon.